Let's start this video out looking at a baboon here in Saudi. This is up in the hills of Jeddah on the way to one of the air bases I work at. All right, so again, coming to you from one of the barracks here on base where I'm staying. And what I wanted to talk about with you today is I wanted to talk about how to start. After years of military contracting overseas, and I'm getting ready to retire, I thought I would pass on the information that I learned over years of working abroad to inspire others to reach out, check out the world, see the jobs that are overseas, and learn something about yourself. A lot of you are thinking about getting into this line of work and you're wondering, well, where do I start? And first and foremost, what you want to do is think about, what do you want to do overseas? What type of work do you want to do overseas? Think about your background, think about what you've done, think about what you have to offer a company overseas. And the best way to look at is to look at your training and look at the certifications that you have. If you have certifications in IT, if you have certifications in any type of journeyman field, such as electronics and plumbing, if you have licenses to operate heavy equipment, if you have a CDL, these type of things will direct you into what's available. Now, it doesn't mean you have to stay in that field. Once you get overseas and you start working, you start seeing what other types of work is out there. It might give you a better idea as to where you want to go with your career. But at least you have something to offer a company to get you overseas, to go through all the steps that are involved, okay, to get you in country, all the visa work, all the clearance work, getting all of your shots and immunizations and everything together. That will get you in country. And then while you're there, let's say that you're operating heavy equipment, and then you start talking to someone that's working as a diesel mechanic, and you find out that they're making 75 grand more a year than what you're making, and they're looking for people, okay? And you might say to yourself, the certifications that they're looking for, I have some of them. I could transfer over to that contract after I finish my contract. Okay, some people even transfer during a contract, but one thing that I always say is, unless something is wrong with your contract, unless something is happening where you're not being treated best at your contract, okay, then maybe make a transfer to something else in country. But you don't want to make that a routine, because it starts to give you a bad name that you're transferring contracts from one to another, okay? So that would be the first thing to think about, is what do you want to do overseas? What certifications do you have to offer to get you into that? And you can always make changes down the line. The next thing for you to think about is, what sort of background do you have to get a job overseas, as well as in the military? Do you have military background? Check your DD-14. Check all your training that you did, everything out of the military. Do you have your shots together? Sometimes it can save you from needing extra immunization shots. Gather all that information together so that you can focus and direct yourself in the right direction using your military background. So that's going to be the first step. The first step is going to be, what do you want to do, and what training and certifications do you have from the civilian world and also from the military world? The next thing for you to think about is going to be your physical abilities. Are you ready to go overseas and work in a very hot environment? I will tell you that right now I'm working in Saudi Arabia, and it is 108 to 110 every day. Okay, it is like an oven here every day. You travel with more water in your backpack than clothing. Okay, you just have backpack water all the time on you, and you have to constantly be taking in fluids. Okay, can you handle that stress? Can you handle that heat stress? Can your body handle it? You want to find out if you have that ability to physically handle working in this environment. Okay, so the first step again is going to be to gather your certifications and what it is you have to offer, and decide what you want to go for. The second is, are you physically able to go overseas? What sort of training do you need to do to start prepping? Do you need to start dropping weight? Do you need to start training with maybe a backpack on, so that you start building up the ability to carry something heavy for a long distance in heat. If that's what you need to do, then that's what you should do to get ready. All right, because not only are you going to deal with the physical to get into contracting, but once you get here, it doesn't get any easier. You are basically working long hours in the heat, and you need to be able to keep your wits about you and also be able to lift equipment while you are in that heat stress environment. The third step is going to be to set up what you need at home for traveling, because don't forget, these are going to be 1-year contracts, okay? And once you get here and you start enjoying what you're doing, or maybe you transfer over to another contract afterwards, 1 year becomes 2 years, 2 years becomes 3 years, and so on, okay? So you need to set things up at home. So your finances, you need everything set up with auto pay, any bills that you have. And if you don't need things, cancel them. Subscriptions, things like that, just cancel them. You're not going to be using them and you don't need them, okay? Start reducing that sort of stuff and get everything that you do have to continue to pay set up for auto pay. You need to notify your bank, and you need to set up a online system where you can easily communicate. You might have to make sure you have VPNs on all of your mobile electronics so that you can communicate with your bank, okay? And also investing, okay? If you have an online investing, which is I recommend you set up so that you start to invest the money that you make over here while you're here. Make sure that you use that through a VPN, and also contact their customer service so that you can leave a note saying that you are going overseas. That way, when they see that you're connecting through these strange locations, they don't get worried. They understand that it's already in your record that you're there. Your bank knows it, and also anyone that you invest with, okay, that they know where you're going to be. Any type of electronics that you use, whether it's your cell phone, whether it's a laptop, if you're into gaming, that sort of things, I want you to start thinking along the lines of mobility. You should have power banks, all your chargers. You should have adapters for where you're going, power adapters for where you're going to be, because different countries utilize different types of outlets. So you just don't go there and expect you're going to find that stuff. Buy it so you have it in your gear for when you travel already. And everything should be set up to be as mobile as possible. Don't think that you're going to be able to set up equipment and things, because you don't really know where you're going to be staying for sure. And if you're moving a lot like I am, sometimes you're in a barracks like I am right now, which is basically like a bedroom, basically. I have a lot of basic facilities that you would find in a house. But there are times when I'm sleeping in a tent. There are times when I'm sleeping in a barracks environment with 100 bunks. So you have to think mobility. You have to think VPNs on all of your electronics as well. The next thing to think about is what's going to happen back home with vehicles and property that you have. Everything is going to be left there when you leave, and you're going to be gone for a year. And like I said, a year turns into 2, and 2 turns into 3. Because you're going to end up loving the money you make, and you're going to like people that you meet over there. You're going to make friends, and your contract is going to look better and better over time. If you have a vehicle that you don't need, I would tell you to sell it, okay? Motorcycles, things like that, they're going to be sitting. It's not good for a motorcycle. Other toys that you bought, jet skis, things like that, I would tell you to sell those types of things and to get rid of them. If you have a car that's relatively new and you want to hold on to it, is there someone you can transfer the title over to? You don't want to be messing with things like titles and registration and insurance and stuff like that. You are thousands of miles away. So find someone else and just tell them, I'm going to transfer this vehicle to you and you maintain it while I'm gone. And that's worked well for me. The last thing that I want to talk about, preparing to go overseas. Okay, we've gone through all the stages now of preparing to do this overseas work. And some of the other videos that I'm going to be making will go more in depth, looking at things like being physically ready and being ready for the different stages of getting hired. Okay, that's going to be in different videos. But this is sort of just prepping yourself of how to get started and how to prepare for this overseas type lifestyle. The last thing I want to talk about is Should someone be in charge of basically whatever you have left back in the States? Should you give power of attorney to someone? Should you give just someone that can basically handle things for you? So for me, what I did is I just made sure that if there was anything left in the States, I just made sure that I had someone that was responsible, that I had a letter made up and I had it notarized saying they could handle this if something came up. If you have a property and you're going to rent it out while you're gone, which is a wonderful thing to do, you can make some extra money doing that. If you have a condo, or if you have a single family home, you want to rent it while you're overseas, get a licensed professional to manage it for you. Even if they want 8% or 10% of the gross, that's fine. Just pay it. Okay, they will take care of everything: repairs, putting people in it, getting people out of it, maintaining the grounds, anything that comes up with it. All right, it's worth having some type of a professional manage your property back in the States. And really, I mean, that's kind of the steps. That's the steps to get ready, to start thinking about what you want to do, what you need to kind of gather and have together, and then how to start setting your life up for living overseas. All right. And we will be back with some more videos. Let me know in the comment section if there's something specific that you want me to cover for overseas contracting, okay? And have a good day.